Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make a ham salad sandwich. So with making a ham salad sandwich, there's really not much to it, and it's a great way to use up leftover ham, especially if you just made it for dinner or if you had it for Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whenever. If you just want to find a way to use up some of the ham without it going to waste, this is a great thing because everything you see on my counter is what we're using. We're basically using some ham, a roll, some lettuce, we're going to have some mayonnaise, some onion, and some pickle relish, and that really is all that's going into this. But it's a really great sandwich. You can mix up a bunch of this to where it can be eaten on for a day or two, to where that way you could repeatedly make sandwiches out of it. And it's a great thing for a leftover lunch if you wanted to use leftovers for that. So take the ham that you have. If you have hard edges on it, cut them off, because the outer part of the ham sometimes gets a little cooked, and that way we want to get that off there before we actually cut this up into cubes, because we don't want that ending up into the mix that we're making here. So go ahead and cut off all those rough outer edges of this, get rid of as much as you can, and look to see if this was cut off the bone, if there's any fat in the center of it, because sometimes there is fat in the center just from where it's cooked up. It's just what it is, so you just need to cut that off, because we really don't want that ended up into the mix, because it's not going to be very appetizing, because it's just a big ball of fat sometimes. So go ahead and cut all of this off, get it out of the way, and what we're going to do is take our ham and kind of layer it in like to a stack, and then cut it into strips, because we're going to do this in a way that when we actually cut this up, we're going to turn it into small cubes in the very end. So if you go ahead and layer it and cut straight across it, you're going to have it like what is happening in the video right now, are straight lines of ham, which are just basically strips. And then once you get all the way through this whole thing, we're going to turn it in the other direction and cut again, and that's how you get these little small cubes that we're going to use for this. And the best thing about this is you're going to cut this up into pieces that are very small. You don't want huge hunks of this ham, because you want this actually to be something that's more like a sandwich capable thing. You don't want really huge chunks that are going to be falling all over the place. They're not going to stick together, but very small pieces actually will stick together in the right way, especially with your mayonnaise, to hold them into place. And as you can see with mine, I'm just cutting these into small pieces. Doesn't have to be big at all. We just want to actually get this whole thing cut up. And as you go through, it's very easy to cut through this because your ham's already cooked. You really don't need to do much to it other than cut it up and get rid of all the edges in the fat. So keep cutting it until you get through all of it. And at the end of this, I think that mine came up to around almost 2 cups of ham once it's all like cut up into little tiny pieces. And that's about what you want for this, because the good thing about this is you have quite a bit of it. You could use it for, you know, a couple of sandwiches to several for a couple of people, or you could even put this on like a deli roll or something like that, to where you literally have a huge sandwich out of what you've got here. It's kind of versatile. You can use it on so many different things. And you know, however you choose to use it, once this salad is made up, you're good to go. So we're going to take the equivalent of probably about 1/4 of a small onion, cut it up. We don't really want a lot of onion in this, just enough to give it some flavor. And we're just basically going to cut it into slivers, so that way when it goes into this, it's going to mix through with the ham just enough to give it a flavor, but not overpower the ham, because we want to go for the flavor of the ham. That's the important part of this. So go ahead and cut this up into really small pieces, and once we get it completely cut up, we're going to add it into the ham, and that way we'll mix it up a little bit and have ready for the next step. So as you can see, mine is actually very small pieces here when it's cut up. We're not going for anything huge. We're just going for slivers, just for the fact that, one, it's going to give you a little crunch, but two, it's actually going to flavor what you've got in your ham. So go ahead and put that into your bowl. And once this is in, just stir it up a little bit, so that way you can get the onion all through the ham before we do anything else to it, because we want to actually make sure all of our ingredients are really well distributed in this. So we're doing some sweet pickle relish. Some people would use dill. I use sweet. It's nobody's choice. You're not right or wrong on this. Either way you want to use it, just go for what makes you happy. And I put in there at least a tablespoon. You can put more if you want. And then you can put up to 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise into this to bind it together. I say start out with a little bit and then add more as you need it to make it stick together, because it may or may not combine really well if you just use a little bit to it. Sometimes you need a little more to hold the whole thing together, and especially if you have a lot of ham in here, you want something to hold it together so that way when it goes on your sandwich, it's not all crumbly and going all over the place. So as you can see, mine is mixed up at this point, and I have a roll to the side of this and some lettuce. I'm using a Kaiser roll. You could use a hamburger bun or whatever you want, or even regular bread to put this on. I like the whole idea of the Kaiser roll because it's a little harder and it has a little bit of an edge, so when you bite into it, there's a bite to this. But inside you have this really wonderful ham salad that has such a great taste, and it kind of works together. And then, you know, put you some lettuce on top of this or whatever else you want. You could add any other vegetables you want on top of it and just assemble it, and then you're ready to eat after you get this together, because this is great. And you can serve this with anything from chips to fries to whatever. Just put it on a plate with a pickle on the side like I did, and you got a great lunch, and it has such a wonderful taste. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website where you can get a free recipe, check out cookbooks that have been released from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, or you can actually buy a cookbook at a discount with a shipping price cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and have a great day.